Good afternoon, students. So let us finish the small numerical, easier numerical that we had started yesterday. It is GSHS, that is open loop transfer function given in root locus drawing k divided by s plus 1 s plus 2. So we are supposed to find out the root locus. So first thing we are doing is we are solving all the steps. We don't know all the steps yet, but at least we are executing it. So first step is to find what are the poles and what are the zeros. So we are finding there are two poles, and the two poles are at -1 and -2. So P is equal to 2, that is number of poles is equal to 2, number of 0 is equal to 0. That means in numerator there is nothing, only k is there. So numerator there is no s term. That means zeros are equal to 0. So I told you yesterday also that root locus is nothing but a plot where the poles are starting from the pole positions and going to 0. So in this case, no zeros are given. That means two zeros are assumed at infinity. So what we are finding is when k is equal to 0, one pole is at -1, another pole is at -2. So we are finding that as we are increasing the gain k, the -1 pole will move to the leftward and -2 pole will move rightward, and then they will meet at a center point here, and the -1 pole will go to upward and -2 pole will go downward, and they will go to the zeros which are kept hypothetically at infinity. And root locus for this thing will be a line which will be parallel to this j omega axis and which will be at -1.5 plus minus j omega, so it will be going towards infinity. Now this same plot we are supposed to find out by using the root locus method, that is the standard root locus procedure, and we are learning all this procedure. So first step is to find poles and zeros. So p at -1, p at -2 we have found. Next is you have to draw that root locus plot as far as possible, depending on the first two steps. And first you have to find what are the real axis root locus. So you have to draw first -1 and -2 pole positions. Then you have to check whether any point in between this -1, -2, let's say -1.5 or -1.3 or -1.99, they are on root locus or not. In doing that, what we do is take any point between -1 and -2, and whatever is a point you are assuming, check to the right side of it. That means if you are taking -1.5 towards the right side of it, what is the total number of poles and zeros? So you are finding if you are taking -1.5 and you want to clarify whether -1.5 is on root locus or not. So in that case, you have to check the right side of that point. So -1.5, check to the right side. Total number of pole plus 0 should be odd. So in this case, if you are taking considering -1.5, you want to clarify whether -1.5 there is a real root locus or not on that point. So towards right hand side, there is total number of pole plus 0 is equal to 1 pole plus 0 zeros. That means total number of pole plus 0 is equal to 1. It's an odd number. That means this -1.5 will be on root locus. So by the same method, we can find out starting from -1.01 up to -1.99, the whole points will be on root locus. Next part is to draw the asymptotic angles, and formula is there. We will show you, we'll see this thing shortly. But for two pole system, when there is no zero, so p minus z is equal to 2, we have to find out that theta c1, that is the first angle of asymptote is 90 degree and second angle of asymptote will be 270 degree. Formulas we will see later on. Then we find what is the point on real axis from where we will draw this root locus. So that point is called as centroid sigma c. Formula is summation of all the real parts of poles minus summation of all the real parts of zeros divided by 2. So here there are two poles, -1, -2. So some sigma c will be -1, -2 divided by 2. There is no 0. So it will be at -1.5. So if you see the root locus from this point, sigma c, in this case sigma c and breakaway point both have coincided at -1.5. We are yet to find what is breakaway point, but sigma c, at least we know that sigma c is at -1.5. So draw one line upward 90 degree, draw one line downward which is 270 degree, and up till now what we have found is there are two poles, -1, -2. We have drawn it. So stepwise you have to keep on drawing root locus after every step. So -1 and -2 we have drawn two poles, and then between -1 and -2 it's a part of root locus. Then we have shown what is sigma c. We have drawn the asymptotic angles 90 degree and 270 degrees. So one dashed lines we have drawn from minus 1.5 upward at 90-degree angle. Another point we have drawn from minus 1.5 downward at 270-degree angle. So this much we have done now. What is the next step? Next step is step number 6, finding the breakaway point. So for breakaway point, you are supposed to find out what is the characteristic equation of the closed loop system. So 1 plus GSHS, GSHS is given by K divided by S plus 1 into S plus 2. So 1 plus GSHS, uska numerator lena hai. Only the numerator of 1 plus GSHS. So if you are writing here 1 plus K divided by S plus 1 into S plus 2, you will be finding that numerator will be S plus 1 into S plus 2 plus K. Okay, so this we will be finding that 1 plus K divided by S plus 1 S plus 2. So if you are adding this K divided by S plus 1 S plus 2, you will be finding that this S plus 1 S plus 2 will go here plus K. So what will be the characteristic equation of the closed loop negative feedback system? So this will be S plus 1 S plus 2 plus K. So if you are just solving it, you will be finding S square plus 3S plus 2 plus K. Yesterday's numerical, we had given you K divided by S into S plus 4. That is day before yesterday, we have seen that. So in that case, characteristic equation was S into S plus 4 plus K. So that was S square plus 4S plus K, because there was no constant part here. In this case, there is a constant part, because if you are multiplying S plus 1 and S plus 2, you are going to get S square plus 3S plus 2. That is there, and plus K. So in this case, there are actually three terms. Square is having a coefficient of 1, S is having a coefficient of 3, and constant term is 2 plus K. Now what is our job? We have to keep on increasing the value of K is equal to 0, and we have to keep on finding what are the different S, and you will be finding that different poles are there. So as you are increasing the value of K, pole position are shifting. So what is the characteristic equation now? So characteristic equation of the closed loop system, which is found out from open loop transfer function, is S square plus 3S plus 2 plus K is equal to 0. So this step, student घबरा जाते हैं, they are not able to do that. So there is nothing difficult. GSHS is given to you, 1 plus GSHS, you do that. So for only pole system, this is very easy. If there comes 0, then there is little bit difficulty in finding out this characteristic equation. But only pole system, it is very easy. So it is S plus 1 S plus 2 plus K, S square plus 3S plus 2 plus K is equal to 0. So up till this there is no doubt. Then find what is the value of K from there, and find dkds. Okay, so S square plus 3S plus 2 plus K. K is something we are plotting the pole for. So we are increasing the value of the gain, and we are finding the position of poles. So in this case, S square plus 3S plus 2 plus K is equal to 0. In that case, K is equal to, so take all the term apart from K to the right hand side. So you are finding K is equal to minus S square plus 3S plus 2. Okay, or same thing can be written as S square is equal to, just you can remove the minus, okay, because you have to differentiate it. Now if you are differentiating it and making it to 0, then वो negative निकल जाता है. So what you have to do next step is dkds is equal to 0. So you can keep this minus, and whenever you are doing it equal to 0, so it becomes only the differentiation of S square plus 3S plus 2 and differentiation of that. What is the differentiation of that? You are finding this is 2S plus 3. So if there was a minus here, so minus bracket 2S plus 3 is equal to 0 is same as 2S plus 3 is equal to 0. You are finding S is equal to 3 by 2, that is minus 1.5. That means you are finding in this case, that is breakaway point. So from this dkds, whatever is the value of S you are finding. So as this is two pole system, you are differentiating the K. That means you are differentiating actually S square plus 3S plus 2. That means you are finding 2S plus 3. That means there will be only one value of S. But if it was a S cube system, okay, if it was a S cube system, then you would have found two values of S. In that case, you have to choose one value of S as a breakaway point, and another value has to be discarded. How to do that? This is another trick. So for two pole system, no zeros, it is very easy, because only one value of S you will find, and this is the process. This is the standard process for all numerical for finding breakaway point. So GSHS will be given to you, find 1 plus GSHS, take its numerator, and that numerator is equal to 0. From there, find what is the expression of K. So this expression again will be requiring at the last step. So K is equal to minus bracket S square plus 3S plus 2. In that case, as K cannot be negative, so you can take only the amplitude of K. So amplitude of K can be found out from K is equal to S square plus 3S plus 2. Differentiate K with respect to S. So find dkds is equal to 0. From there, you are finding 2S plus 3 is equal to 0. S is equal to minus 1.5. So up till this, up to 6th step, what all we have found out is what is the centroid angle, what is the centroid position, what is the breakaway point, what is the real axis root locus. All these things are sufficient to find out the whole root locus plot. And now finally, step number 7 we are not doing, because step number 7 is done only when the roots are imaginary. But in this case, you are finding that poles are all real, there is no zero. So if there is any a pole or zero which are imaginary, that means minus a plus jb form, then something else we have to find out. What is that thing called? It is called as an angle of arrival or angle of departure. So in this case, we have to give the logic. So you can write down step 7 and you have to write that as all the poles and zeros. So there is no zero. That means all the poles, as all the poles are real poles, that is minus 2 and minus 1. Hence, there is no angle of arrival and there is no angle of departure. So calculating angle of arrival and angle of departure is another thing students get confused. So first thing you have to understand when angle of arrival and angle of departure is calculated. So it is called as AOA and AOD, angle of arrival and angle of departure. When is it calculated? If there is imaginary pole, if there is imaginary zero, then root locus starts from an imaginary point. In that case, angle of arrival and angle of departure has to be calculated. So if there is imaginary pole, because the root locus actually starts from a pole, so if there is imaginary pole, then you have to calculate angle of departure, and root locus comes back to the zero. So if there is zeros, imaginary zeros, then you have to calculate angle of arrival. So I will repeat, if there are imaginary pole, then you have to calculate angle of departure, because from those imaginary poles the root locus will depart in a certain angle. We will see enough examples and we will calculate angle of departure, angle of arrival, but not today, because that is more higher order numerical. So in another 1-2 lectures time, we will see how to calculate angle of arrival and angle of departure. So initially we are going to see numericals only with real poles and real zeros. So step 7 is not to be executed there. What is step 8? So in step 8 actually we are taking this characteristic equation a square plus 3s plus 2 plus k, and we are trying to find out by Routh-Hurwitz criterion what is the value of k for which the root locus is going to cross the j omega axis. That means that k marginal and omega marginal, that means the frequency at which and at the gain at which the root locus is going to cross the j omega axis and enter the right hand side of S plane, that we have to calculate from the step 8. But in this root locus, we know that this root locus is going to be parallel with j omega axis. Starting from point minus 1.5, it will go up and it will come down. That means as this root locus is parallel with respect to j omega axis, you will be finding that there is no crossing of root locus for the j omega axis. That means in this case, k value will not come. So k value will not come means k will come some imaginary thing. We will find that how to find the value of k. So we know now in this case 1 plus GSHS is the characteristic equation of the closed loop system. That means numerator of that. That is 1 plus GSHS numerator, that is S plus 2, S plus 1 into S plus 2 plus k. So if we are doing it, what we'll be finding, it is S square plus 3S plus 2 plus k. Okay, so it is S square plus 3S plus 2 plus k, and this equal to 0. In this case, we are supposed to find out what is the RH criterion for that. So S square, 3S and 2 plus k. So what is the even polynomial? It is S square and 2 plus k. So we are writing equation of this. So S square means what is the coefficient? It is 1. Okay, and constant is 2 plus k. So this is 2 plus k. And what is the coefficient of S? That is S to 1, that is 3. So this is a RH criterion table, and we know that RH criterion table is the first column of the RH criterion table should be having all same sign for the system to have all the poles in the left hand side of S plane. The case which is here, because we are finding that the poles are always getting confined to the left hand side of S plane for any value of k. Okay, so let us see whether the system is stable, unstable, or unstable for which value of k and all those things. So S square is 1 and 2 plus k like this, and S is having a coefficient of 3, and there is nothing here, so it will be 0. Now find what is the S is raised to 0 term. So it is 3 into 2 plus k minus 1 into 0 divided by 3. Here it is coming 2 plus k. So for k, 2 plus k is equal to 0. We have seen for the first rule, that is if there is some epsilon, make it epsilon tends to 0. So if you are making epsilon tends to 0, then also you are finding this is equal to 2, and 2 is a positive number. Or from here, if you are finding 2 plus k is equal to 0, you are finding k is equal to minus 2, which is negative. And we know that k value can never be negative. That means whatever criteria we are getting here is, it's a unreliable criteria, or it's a unrealistic criteria, that is k is coming to be negative. So in this case what you have to say is, from the first column of RH criteria, a square coefficient is positive, S coefficient is also positive, and S to 0 coefficient is also positive. Why? Because 2 plus k, and k value can minimum be equal to 0, and k value can maximum be infinity. That means 2 plus k is always a positive number. Or from there, if you are finding 2 plus k is equal to 0, you are finding k is equal to minus 2, which is not possible. So that is one way of explaining that this is an unrealistic case for k. Or from the first logic, you can say that 2 plus k is equal to will be always positive, because k is always positive. That means from this RH criterion, we are finding that first column all terms are positive. First column all terms positive in RH criteria means the system is absolutely stable. What is meant by absolutely stable? For any value of k. In this case, any value of k means k value can be 0. In this case also, you are finding that first column is all positive, system is stable. K is infinity, then also the first column is positive, the system is absolutely stable. So you are finding that for k any value from 0 to infinity, this system is going to be stable, because first column of Routh-Hurwitz criteria is going to be positive. That means this is an absolutely stable system. Absolutely stable system, how do we know that? Then you have to draw this R locus plot. So step 7 not required. So this is, I have explained already, step 7 not required, as there is no imaginary or complex pole or complex zero pair, as k marginal does not exist. Omega crossover also does not exist. So this step 7 statement is different, and as k marginal does not exist, this is a different statement. Actually, you have to say after step 8, what you have to say is k marginal is coming to be negative, which is unrealistic case, because k cannot be negative. In that case, k marginal does not exist. So k negative means k marginal does not exist. That means omega crossover also does not exist. That means the root locus does not cross the j omega axis, and it does not enter the right side of S plane. That means root locus is always confined in. Mohit, k is the gain we are discussing from the first day. K is the system gain. We are plotting the whole root locus with respect to k only. Okay, so k is the gain. What is root locus? If we are increasing the value of k, then we are getting different locations of the root. Okay, and that is actually root locus plot. Please listen to the previous lectures, and those who are not attending lectures, or those who are finding I'm going very fast, please, all the lectures are uploaded till yesterday. So yesterday's lecture I'm yet to upload. All the first lecture number, I think 33 and 34, please listen to that, those 2 hours, whatever was taken day before yesterday and what is taken yesterday. So these 2 lectures you must listen. So k is nothing but the gain. So in this case, we are finding that k marginal does not exist, omega crossover also does not exist. So root locus is totally confined in the left hand side of S plane. Hence root locus is absolutely stable for all the values of k is equal to 0 up to k is equal to infinity. When root locus is perfectly stable, absolutely stable, that means there is no crossover, and this is the diagram that we have to draw. That means this is j omega axis. Initially S is equal to k is equal to 0. So first lowest gain k, we are finding the poles are placed at -1 and -2. You are increasing the value of k a little bit for a higher gain, little bit higher gain, which is called as k critical. K critical is different and k marginal is different. K critical means when these 2 poles comes and collide at a breakaway point. So when the 2 poles are at the same point, we have found that breakaway point is at -1.5. Means what? That means for certain gain, 2 poles are coming and colliding at one point, breakaway point. That means 2 pole मिलके एक हो जाते. Okay, and that is the point where the damping is equal to 1, or that is called as critical damping case. And generally in critical damping, when zeta is equal to 1, we will find that gain of the system is also equal to 1. So this is another new thing I am telling you, that whenever the 2 poles are coming and colliding, what is the value of S here? At S is equal to 1.5 negative. Okay, breakaway point we have found at -1.5. That means when S is equal to -1.5, it's a real part. In that case, zeta is equal to 1. Both poles are actually coming and colliding at the same point, and we know that from the fundamentals, that is at that point system gain k is equal to 1. Okay, so when we know that system gain k is equal to 1, we can find out what is the value actually. So overall system gain, that is DC system gain, is equal to 1. We can find out what is the value. So I'll tell you. So last point, there is something. Okay. So how to draw this root locus? So first plot this to, this is the pole position at s is equal, k is equal to 0. Then plot this sigma c. From sigma c draw 90 degree. From sigma c draw minus 90 degree, and then show this root locus, because that is the second or third step, drawing the real axis root locus that you have drawn. And then draw this root locus. This is coming from -1 to -1.5 and going up, so darken this line. You have to keep a dark pencil for that, soft pencil, 2B or something, or 3B or 4B something. So from -2 this will come to -1.5 and go to the negative side of axis, because there are two zeros which are kept at infinity in this case, which is hypothetically we have to understand. So everything is found out. So from the step 1, 2, 3, we have found out the pole 0 position, p minus z is equal to 2 minus 0 is equal to 0. Step 4, we have found out this angle 90 degree and 270 degree, that is the asymptotic angle. Step 5, we have found out sigma c. Step 6, we have found out what is the point where the two poles are coming and getting collided. So how to find that? You first find 1 plus GSHS, there equal to 0. There is a characteristic equation of the closed loop system. From there, find what is the value of k. So all the terms in the k you take to the right hand side, that will be negative. You find dk ds. Dk ds equal to 0. From there, as there are a square equation, so if you are doing dk ds, you are finding it is 2s plus 3. 2s is equal to minus 3 by 2, that is minus 1.5. So in this case, breakaway point is also minus 1.5. That means at a certain gain, you are finding that the two poles are coming and colliding each other. What is the value of k in this case? We'll find out. So that value of k in this case will come as k critical. So that will become 0.25. We will see here. So that is the last line. You can see part of it towards the end of this page. So how to find it, I will tell you. So that is the 6th point, finding breakaway point. 7th point in this case is not required, which is finding angle of arrival and angle of departure. As there is no real, as there is no imaginary pole, or as there is no imaginary zero, we no need to find out angle of arrival and angle of departure. And we will not be discussing it for coming 1 or 2 days of lecture, because we will be doing numerical only with real poles and real zeros. Okay, so angle of arrival, angle of departure, next week देखेंगे, maybe till Thursday and all. While we are doing difficult numerical, we will be seeing that. But yes, exam, we are asking numerical with angle of arrival and angle of departure. So we are asking little difficult numerical in exams. So, and don't worry about that, it is not a difficult part. We will understand it perfectly. And last thing, we are finding out what is the k. That is, k means k marginal. Okay, so k marginal is different, k critical is different. K critical means what is the system gain k when zeta is equal to 1. That means at breakaway point, what is the system gain? That is called as k critical. And what is k marginal? K marginal is when this root locus is going and touching the j omega axis. Okay, so there we are finding 2 points. One is omega marginal, what is the frequency at which the k marginal is produced. So k marginal and omega marginal we are finding from Routh-Hurwitz criterion. So for that we have to write down the characteristic equation for the closed loop system, and we have to form RH table for that, and you have to check the first column. In this case, from first column we are finding that s square and s term, they are all positive, and s to 0 term is coming to be 2 plus k, or k is coming to be negative -2. Then our logic is k cannot be negative, hence this condition is not valid, so k is negative. Or another thing, you can say 2 plus k, that is there at s0. You can say that k can be minimum value of 0 and maximum can be infinity. That means for any value of k, the last term s0, that is having coefficient positive. So all the three elements in the Routh-Hurwitz criterion, first column is positive or same sign. There is no sign change. That means this system given by k divided by s plus 1, s plus 2, this is an absolutely stable system. What is meant by absolutely stable? For any value of k from 0 to infinity, this system is not going to be unstable. That means root locus will never cross j omega axis or never even touch j omega axis. And that we can find out from the root locus plot. That is from -1.5, one root locus is going up, another root locus plot is coming down. That means this line is parallel to j omega axis. That means there is no crossover of root locus in the right hand side. Now the last thing is how to find out the gain at which the breakaway point occurs. Okay, so we have found out that at breakaway point is happening at -1.5. That means at s is equal to -1.5, the breakaway point is occurring. We are trying to find out what is the gain k when the breakaway point is occurring. So generally GSHS is given by K divided by S plus 1 S plus 2, and you know when the breakaway point is occurring. So breakaway point is occurring at S is equal to minus 1.5. Okay, so this is the formula. So GSHS, mod of GSHS equal to 1. There you have to substitute S breakaway point. So first we have found out from the step 6 that breakaway point is occurring at S is equal to minus 1.5. Substitute that value of S in K critical divided by S plus 1 S plus 2. That means this S you have to substitute in minus 1.5. This S you have to substitute minus 1.5. That means below you are getting plus 0.5 and minus 0.5. So mod of that. So plus 0.5 minus 0.5, if you multiply, this will becoming 0.25. That means mod of K critical divided by minus 0.25 is equal to 1. So this is the standard equation. Whatever GSH is given to you, mod of that equal to 1. So this is the equation for finding what is called as K critical. K critical is the gain at breakaway point. That means whenever the breakaway point is occurring, you are calculating the breakaway point. You are actually calculating the S. In this case, S you have calculated as minus 1.5. That means when the frequency is 1.5 radian per second, in that case the breakaway will occur. That means this pole minus 1 will shift to minus 1.5, this pole minus 2 will shift to minus 1.5, and they will meet each other, and at frequency is equal to 1.5 frequency is equal to 1.5 radian per second, you are going to find the two poles will come and collide at one point. That is actually the point for critical damping. That is actually the highest gain at which we are going to get non-oscillatory response. What is that gain? K critical. So how to find it? Whatever GSHS is given to us, K is the system gain. K critical, we are giving it a specific name because that is the critical damping condition. K critical divided by S plus 1 S plus 2. So this is GSHS given. Mod of that is equal to 1. So in that case, substitute S. Already you have found out at which point it is occurring. So it is at which point breakaway point is occurring. So it is occurring at minus 1.5 and minus 1.5. So substitute here, denominator will be finding minus 0.5 plus 0.5. Multiply them, you are getting minus 0.25. K critical divided by minus 0.25 is equal to 1. If you are solving, you will be finding that K critical is equal to 0.25. That means when the system gain K is equal to 0.25, so you started from 0. At 0, the pole positions was at minus 1 and minus 2. Okay, then if you have increased it to K is equal to 0.25, you are finding that this minus 1 and minus 2 both are coming and colliding each other at minus 1.5. So more than gain more than gain of 0.25, that means 0.26, 0.27, 0.3, 0.4, you are going to find that both the poles are going in both directions. So for 0.3, which is little greater than K critical, you will be finding that this minus 1 pole which had come to minus 1.5, it will go upward, and for K is equal to 0.3, the pole which had come from minus 2 to minus 1.5, it will go downward. So imaginary pole will start occurring if the K value is increased greater than 0.25. But everything said and done, root locus is getting confined in the left hand side of S plane only, and root locus is never crossing the j omega axis. That means this is an absolutely stable root locus plot. Let us now go to the second PDF for today, where we are going to see what are the different steps of finding root locus. So now actually officially we are starting with learning all the steps of root locus. So this page was actually explained to you what is meant by root locus, what is the significance of root locus and everything. I'm going for the next page where the steps of root locus are given. So by the same numerical K divided by S into S plus 4 H is equal to 1. So same kind of thing. So rule 1 means step 1 actually. So now we construct the root locus by all the steps. So step 1 I will not call rule, I will call step. What is the step 1? Step 1 is the root locus is symmetric about the real axis. We have seen that whatever happens on the positive side of x-axis, the same thing will be happening in the negative side of x-axis as well. So this is a property of root locus, that root locus is symmetric with respect to x-axis. That means with respect to x-axis, ऊपर जो होता है नीचे भी वही होता है. But it is not symmetric with respect to y-axis. No, it is symmetric with respect to x-axis. So irrespective of the system, the root locus that we construct will be symmetric about the real axis. Total number of loci. Total number of loci means how many paths. Okay, so how many paths means in this case we have seen S plus 1, S plus 2, and there is no 0. So there are two open loop poles and there is no 0. That means there will be two paths. One will start from -1 and it will start from -0. Okay, and they will go towards infinity after touching the breakaway point. So what is the number of loci? The total number of loci will be equal to the map max p comma z, where p is the number of open loop poles and z is the number of open loop zeros. So this is a little confusing. So what you have to say is total number of loci will be p minus z, or it can be z minus p also. So some numerical we can give you. There are many zeros. Okay, and you have to find out what is p minus z. So though p minus z will come negative, but you have to take mod of that. So you have to find out what is p minus z or z minus p. That will be the number of loci, or that many paths you have to draw. Yesterday we have seen one numerical, that is k divided by s into s plus 3 into s plus 6. So in that case 0 was 0. There was no 0 term and there were 3 open loop poles. So we had drawn 3 loci or 3 paths or 3 root locus. Okay, so first you have to understand how many paths you have to draw. Third is real axis loci. So how to determine whether any point on the root locus is actually on the root locus or root locus exists on that real part or not. Okay, so for the rule, a point on the real axis lies on the root locus if the total number of real open pole and open loop 0 to the right hand side of that point is odd. So we have seen this part, we have seen this numerical, and yesterday I had shown you how to calculate it. So -1 and -2, these are the two things we have to first plot, and then you have to check whether this point -1.5, whether root locus lies here or not. So how to check? -1.5 के right side में देखो, total number of pole plus 0, that number has to be odd. So whether -1.5, -1.7, -1.9, whether root locus lies there, answer is yes, because -1.5, if you check the right side of that, what is the total number of pole plus 0? That is equal to only one pole, no 0. So 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. That's an odd number. That means this -1.5 root locus will exist there on real axis. But if you take -3, so if you take -3, in that case, whether this point a root locus will lie or root locus will exist at -3, the answer is no, because right side of -3, how many total poles and zeros are there? There are total 2 poles. So 2 is a even number. कितना है वो जरूरी नहीं है. Whether it is even or odd, that you have to find out. So question is whether -3 root locus, real axis root locus lies at -3. Answer is no. Why not? Because right side of it is having 2 poles and 2 poles is having even number. That means -3 is not on root locus. So that's what they're explaining here. That is rule number 3. A point on the real axis lies on the root locus if the total number of real open poles and real closed loop poles, addition of that. So if there are 5 poles and 6 zeros possible, so 5 plus 6 is a even number which is lying to the right side of it. Big system. Okay, so if it's a odd number, 5 plus 6, I'm sorry, I said it's an even number. So if any point is there right side of it, 5 poles and 6 zeros, so total 11 pole and 0, which is an odd number, then that point real axis root locus will lie there. So this is a very easy thing. Don't get confused, because ये सब students second third day में अच्छे से कर लेते हैं. That is not a problem. Angle of asymptotes. So total number of branches of the root locus. So that is equal to p minus z. So जितना सारा p minus z है, accordingly we have to calculate the sigma c and theta c. What is sigma c? Sigma c is centroid. Centroid is a point on the real axis through which the asymptotes pass. In other words, the asymptotes touch the real axis at the point called a centroid sigma c. So from which point the asymptotes are generated, that point is called a sigma c. And now what is the formula for that? Summation of all the real values of poles minus summation of all the real values of 0 divided by p minus z. That is the formula how to calculate sigma c. And how many root locus are there? That is equal to number of p minus z. That is equal to number of asymptotes you have to draw, and number of asymptote if 2, the asymptotic angle are 90 and 270. If p minus z is equal to 3, the angle has to be drawn as 60 degree, 180 degree and 300 degree. I'm cautioning you people because you have to take protractor in the exam. So protractor has to be carried in the exam because you have to draw all these angles, 60 degree, 180 degree, 300 degree. So that's why for root locus drawing you have to take protractor with you in the exam. You might be having it, you had done this engineering drawing thing, so please carry it in the exam. So angle of asymptote, that is theta c, there is a certain formula I will show you. Very easy it is to calculate, 60, 180, 300, centroid sigma c we know. Then there is breakaway point. What is the breakaway point? If we are increasing the gain of k, Last numerical we had seen that initially at k is equal to 0, position of open loop poles were at -1 and -2. You have increased the value of k up to 0.25 and you found that both poles are colliding at -1.5. So that s is equal to -1.5, that you have to calculate. That means what is the point or what is the value of s is the frequency, complex frequency at which both poles will come and collide at each other. At that point zeta will be equal to 1. It is called as a critical damping. How to find that? A breakaway point is a point on the root locus where two poles meet. Okay, so once the two poles meet, collide, they split, i.e. they break away from the real axis and they go in the imaginary axis. So how to calculate it? I have shown you. First you have to find out the characteristic equation. From the characteristic equation you have to find what is the value of k, and from that you are supposed to find dkds is equal to 0, and from dkds is equal to 0 you are supposed to find out what are the values of s for which this dkds equation equal to 0. So previous case we have found s is equal to -1.5, and then we can say that breakaway point is -1.5. Angles rule 7 or step 7, angle of departure or angle of arrival. This rule gives us angle along with complex poles will depart or complex 0 when it is arrival. So if there is 0 in the complex, that is a plus j minus a plus jb form, if there are zeros at minus a plus jb, so root locus will come and enter that 0, because root locus starts from pole and they finishes at 0. So we will see a lot of numericals with zeros also. So root locus comes and enters at 0. In this case, if you see this numerical, we are always showing that root locus is going away from the poles. You can see here, see this arrow. See, this arrow direction is very important. You have drawn a root locus and not shown the arrow, means you have understood nothing. So without arrow, root locus is not having any meaning. You have to show this arrow, means what? This root moves in this direction, and after that you have to show arrow upward. That means after coming to this point, this root is going upward. So this is the root locus, how the root is changing its position with respect to k, as Mohit asked. Okay, so again this root you have to show this arrow because they're coming here, and after coming to this point, this root -2, which was there -2 at k is equal to 0. For higher value of k, for k is equal to 0.25, it is here. For k is greater than 0.25, it is going in the imaginary direction towards below. So this directions are very important. That's why angle of arrival and angle of departure, whenever there is imaginary poles, so the root locus will leave or depart from the imaginary poles. Then we have to calculate angle of departure. How to calculate angle of arrival? Angle of arrival has to be calculated for imaginary zeros, because root locus will come and enter all those imaginary zeros. So in that case we have to calculate angle of arrival, but those will be little difficult numerical, bigger numerical. We will not be doing it in coming 1 or 2 days. We'll be going slow. So rule 8, last rule 8, intersection with the imaginary axis. So not every numerical will be like this, that is parallel with respect to j omega axis. No. Okay, so if there are three open loop poles, real poles, in that case we'll be finding that yesterday I had explained. So one pole will be going starting from its position to the negative real axis, so that is a absolutely stable pole, but other two pole, they are conditionally stable. That means for k less, they will be in the left hand side of S plane. K very high, they will cross the j omega axis and they will enter the right hand side of S plane. So you will be finding that for certain value of k, yesterday's numerical up to from 0 to 162, we had found that the poles were in the left hand side. And whenever it was k was greater than 162 or k at 162, k marginal we call it, the poles are on j omega axis, and k greater than 162, the poles were entering the right hand side. That means system was becoming unstable. So we are supposed to find out at which value of k the system is getting unstable. That is called as k marginal. And at which frequency omega. So like breakaway point, you have found also s is equal to j omega. So you had found in the previous numerical, today's numerical, that is two pole, s is equal to j omega is equal to j minus 1.5, or it was real, so only minus 1.5. For other numericals also you are supposed to find at which value of s the root locus is going to cross the j omega axis. So omega marginal and k marginal, these two things are very important. For three pole system we will be calculating omega marginal and k marginal, and that is actually the step number 8. And step number 9, which I say you have to comment on the root locus. So whenever I'll be asking you root locus in case of our lab, that will be experiment number 7, I guess. There, after drawing every root locus, you have to give a comment. That is initially for k is equal to 0, poles were at this position, then breakaway point happens at this value of k. Then we are increasing the gain value further, and at this value of gain, let's say 140, it is called as k marginal. That means here we are finding that the roots are on j omega axis. So this is the highest point of stability, or which is called as a marginal stability. More than gain 140, the poles are going to enter in the right hand side of S plane, and system is going to be unstable. So such a small paragraph we have to write, which I call as step number 9, and that's it. So now with respect to this numerical, GSHS k into S plus 6, S into S plus 2, S plus 5, let us not do this numerical now, because here they are giving us 0. So let us do it with respect to this numerical, whatever we had seen last day. So let us solve this numerical. So this is the first time, everybody please give concentration, because this is the first time we are solving a complete numerical with respect to root locus from the book. I'll go very fast because all the steps are given to us, and this will be uploaded today itself. So starting from lecture 31 up to 35. So 31, 32 lecture is actually Routh Hurwitz criterion. All the notes and lectures and everything is uploaded. If you can do that, it's very good. But lecture 33, 34 and this lecture 35, you must listen when you are appearing for tomorrow. You can listen fast, or you can only see the material, written material, to understand. Obviously, if you listen to the lecture, your understanding will be better. Suno, ye teen lecture you must listen. 33, 34 and 35. 33 is already uploaded. 34 and 35 I'll be uploading shortly. So please listen to these 3 lectures, all of you. Those who are missing this session, those who have left in between, a lot of people are living in between, I check. Please listen to all these 3 lectures, lecture 33, 34, 35, before you are coming for session tomorrow, because tomorrow onwards we are going to take jump. एक एक दिन में 3 4 numerical solve हो जाएगा, because we are doing all the steps repetitive. So this is the first time we are doing something very slow. Find the root locus plot for different values of k for the given GSHS open loop transfer function k by s into s plus 3, s plus 6. Exactly this kind of numerical will be asked in the exam. So we have seen this thing. So first step is actually find p is equal to 3, z is equal to 0. So number of p minus z is equal to 3 minus 0 is 3. All the steps are done first. So first thing I'll be explaining how to draw the real axis root loci. So first plot this, s is equal to 0, then s is equal to minus 3. So I'm already in the third step, and then s is equal to minus 6. Whether this minus 1, minus 2, minus 2.9, whether they are on root locus or whether root locus exists here, answer is yes. You just take this point minus 1, whether it's a part of root locus, answer is yes. Why? Because minus 1 के right side में देखो, pole plus 0 is equal to 1. There is only one pole, there is no 0. So 1 is an odd number, that means this point minus 1. It's on root locus. Same here, minus 1.5, minus 1.7, minus 2. It's also a part of root locus, because minus 2 के right side में देखो, total pole plus 0 is equal to 1. That is one pole, no 0. So in this system there is no 0. That means this whole thing, starting from s is equal to 0 up to s is equal to minus 3, this whole thing will be a root locus. That means whenever the roots will be moving for incremental value of k, they will be crossing this path. So 0 to minus 3 is a part of root locus. So that means real root locus will exist between 0 to minus 3. Whether this minus 4 or minus 3.5, minus 4, minus 4.5, minus 5, are they on root locus? Answer is no, because ये हर एक point जो minus 3 और minus 6 के बीच में है, you will be finding towards right hand side what is the total number of p plus z is equal to 2. That's a even number. So that means this minus 3.5, minus 4, minus 4.5, minus 5, minus 5.5 up to minus 5.9. No real root locus exists between minus 3 to minus 6, because for all these points, they are infinite points, because it's a continuous graph. Okay, for this infinite points, root locus is not there. Real axis root locus is not there on those points. Why not? Because right side of all these points are having total number of p plus z is equal to 2. 2 is an odd number. Again, you can check minus 6.1, minus 6.2, minus 6.3, minus 7, minus 10, minus 100, up to minus infinity. Is root locus existing there? Answer is yes. Why? Because this point has been made darker. Why? Because any point you take -7 उसका right side में देखो what is the total number of pole and 0. Total number of pole is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 1, that is 3. 3 is an odd number. That means starting from -6 up to -infinity real axis, it will be a part of root locus. So for this system, what is the real axis root locus? You have to say the whole negative real axis except -3 to -6. I will repeat. For this system, what is the real axis root locus? The whole real axis root locus except the point -3 to -6 will be a real axis root locus for this system. Next, find so this -6 is a absolutely stable root locus, because if you are increasing the value of k, this -6 will keep on traveling towards -7, -8, -9 up to -infinity. Why? Because there is a 0 hypothetically at -infinity. So this -6 root, which is at k is equal to 0, this will get finished at 0, which is kept at -infinity. But these two, so this is a exactly absolutely stable pole. These two are not absolutely stable, because they will first come here, get joined at this point, at certain point, -1.27, we have found out there. Then for incremental value of k, they will be moving in upward direction. And exactly at j is equal to 4.24, exactly at k is equal to 162, they will cross the j omega axis and enter to the right hand side of S plane. So they will become unstable for k greater than 162. So this pole S is equal to 0 and S is equal to -3, initially they are conditionally stable, or they are relatively stable. For k is equal to 0, they are stable. K is equal to 100, they are stable. K is equal to 162, they are marginally stable. K greater than 162, they are unstable. So this 0 and -3, they are relatively stable pole. -6 is a absolutely stable pole. Step number 4, find the asymptotes and what is the asymptote value. So a number of asymptotes p minus z is equal to 3. Okay, so first they have found out, instead of a breakaway point, first they have found out what is angle of asymptote. So angle of asymptote theta, see, this is the formula: 2x plus 1 into 180 divided by p minus z. So p minus z we know as 3. 2x plus 1, and x starts from 0. So as there are 3 asymptotes, you are supposed to substitute x as 0, 1 and 2. If you are substituting x is equal to 0, so in this case we have found out p minus z is equal to 3. That means this x value will be 0, 1 and 2. And angle for theta c or beta x, whatever you call, theta c is the asymptotic angle and beta x is also the asymptotic angle. So 2x plus 1 into 180 divided by p minus z. So p minus z is 3. Initially substitute x is equal to 0. That means this is 180 by 3. That is 60 degree. Next you substitute x is equal to 1. That is 3 into 180 by 3. That will be 180 degree. Next you substitute x is equal to 2. Students make mistake is they keep substituting x from 1 to 3 and they get different values. So please remember, this is the point I'm telling you where student make mistake. Whenever you are calculating theta c, 3 p minus z is 3, आंखें बंद करके लिख दो 60, 180, 300 and write down this formula and tell that x value changes from 0, 1 and 2. X value starts from 0. Okay, so you substitute 0, you'll be finding beta x or theta c as 60 degree. Substitute x is equal to 1, you'll be finding beta as 180. Substitute x is equal to 2. This is 5 into 180 by 3. So that is 900 by 3. That is beta 2 is 300. So this is the formula I wanted to tell you yesterday. I told you that I will tell you in future. This is the formula. Then centroid theta c or sigma c, from where the theta c has to be drawn. Okay, so the addition of all the real parts of open loop pole. So this is -3 -6 and there is no 0. So 0 is 0. So this is -9 divided by 3 is equal to -3. That's why you will find that the sigma c are drawn from -3. So at -3 you have to draw 3 lines. One is 60 degree, one is 300 degree, another is 180 degree. So ऐसा 3 angle ऐसा जाएगा. So from -3 is the point on real axis, and the sigma c will always be on real axis. Not necessary, because bigger numericals are there. We'll find that sigma c can be imaginary also. So we will see that. And in this case, we are finding that the real part addition. So there are 3 poles, 0, -3 and -6. Add all this is becoming -9 divided by 3. So sigma c is -3. Now let us find what is breakaway point. Breakaway point is 1 plus GSHS. So now this is 1 plus GSHS. So this we had explained actually yesterday. This S into S plus 3 into S plus 6 plus K is equal to 0. If you are multiplying it, you'll be getting that s cube plus 9s square plus 18s plus k is equal to 0. So that is the characteristic equation. Very important. If you are multiplying all this, you will be finding s cube plus 9s square plus 18s plus k is equal to 0. Then take this other values in the right side. You are finding k is equal to minus s cube plus 9 square plus 18s. Then differentiate it, and you are finding that there will be a quadratic equation. So if you're differentiating it, you will be finding 3s square plus 18s plus 18. That means s square plus 6s plus 6. That means you will be finding that s is equal to minus 4.73 and minus 1.27. Now here there is coming something new. I'll be taking some 2-3 minutes of yours. Please stay, because when you have started this numerical, we'll finish it. So in this case, we are finding that this is s cube. Okay, that's why there will come two values of breakaway point here. One breakaway point is valid, another breakaway point is invalid. One very important rule is breakaway point is the point where the two roots come and collide. That means breakaway point always lies on the root locus, real axis root locus. I'm telling you, breakaway point in this case you have got two values. So how to calculate these two values? It is very easy. You can find it from here. But we have got two values, minus 4.73 and minus 1.27. One value is valid, another value is invalid. Minus 4.73 is invalid because there is no root locus on real axis at minus 4.73. So minus 4.73 is somewhere here. And there is no root locus on real axis root locus on minus 4.73. Minus 1.27, is it valid breakaway point? Yes, because minus 1.27 is somewhere here. And minus 1.27 root locus is existing. So between 0 and minus 3, valid root locus real axis is existing. That means out of these two values, whatever you have found out, minus 4.27, which is here, there is no valid root locus. There is no real axis root locus and minus 4.27. So this one line you have to add here as they have written. The breakaway point has to lie on root locus. Always it is the case, because the two roots will come and collide at that point. So at minus 4.73 there is no root locus, because between minus 3 to minus 6 root locus is not there. The whole negative real axis except minus 3 to minus 6, that is the real axis root locus. So at minus 4.73 there is no real axis root locus, hence we are discarding minus 4.73. Hence there is only one breakaway point. For this case it is minus 1.27. So you have to remember the steps. So breakaway point is found, sigma c is found, theta c is found. 7th step not required because there is no imaginary poles and zeros. So angle of arrival, angle of departure not required. Last case we are supposed to find out what is k marginal and what is omega marginal. So for that again the same thing. We have to get this characteristic equation of the system, that is closed loop characteristic equation. So GSHS is given as open loop transfer function. From there you are supposed to find out closed loop characteristic equation. What is that? 1 plus GSHS. If you are doing that, you are going to get numerator of 1 plus GSHS. That is this one. That is s cube plus 9s square plus 18s plus k. Now you do the Routh-Hurwitz criteria. You are substituting 1 and 18 first and 9 and k. So 1 and 18, 9 and k. If you are doing that, you are finding s raised to 1 coefficient is 162 minus k by 9 and last is k. So this last thing is not a problem because k value is always greater than 0. So s cube, s square and s0 all are positive. Only thing is 162 minus k by 9. If it needs to be positive, the k value has to be less than 162. That means the marginal gain for this system, that is maximum gain for which the system is stable, can be 162. So this is a very important thing you have to find out from this case. So find Routh-Hurwitz criteria, and from there you find what is the k marginal. So in this case you have to say that if the system is going to be stable, in that case the k value has to be less than 162. So what is k marginal? K marginal is 162. Last thing is omega marginal. How can you find omega marginal? Go to the previous line of k marginal. What is that? 9s square plus k. So whichever line you are finding the k marginal, just go to the previous line, and there you are finding this is 9s square plus k. And whenever you are solving 9s square plus k, k maximum value is 162. So here this equation is very important. So 9s square plus k. So go to the previous line, as we are doing in case of all the rows are becoming 0. What we do? We go to the previous line and write that equation. So whenever you are finding that this thing is becoming equal to 0, that means k is equal to 162, go to the previous line, that is 9s square plus 162 is equal to 0. And from there if you are finding s, you are finding that s is plus minus j 4.24, which are called as omega marginal. That means whenever the input frequency to the system is 4.24 radian per second, in that case we will be finding that the system gain is going to be K marginal. So that is the highest frequency for which the system is marginally stable, and greater than 4.24 radian per second, system will become unstable because gain of the system is increasing with respect to the frequency. Last thing, you are supposed to find K critical. K critical means at breakaway point how much is the gain. So it is K divided by K critical, S into S plus 3, S plus 6. We know that S is equal to minus 1.27. That is the frequency at critical zeta is equal to 1. That is when breakaway point is occurring, at that time S is equal to minus 1.27. So this is the formula. K critical divided by S into S plus 3, S plus 6 is equal to 1. There substitute the breakaway point. What is the breakaway point? Minus 1.27. So if you're substituting all these values, you are finding that K critical divided by minus 10.39 mod of that, but mod of negative becomes positive. So K critical is 10.39. So all the things you have found from step 8 and K critical is very important. So you just check it once again, because we know Routh-Hurwitz criteria and we have seen this formula K critical. That means when the system gain is 0, the poles are at 0, minus 3, minus 6. When you are increasing the gain, the poles have started coming closer to each other. That means when the gain is 10.39, the poles will be colliding each other. That means the conditionally stable poles, that is 0 and minus 3. So at gain is equal to 10.39, these two things will collide onto each other. And how much is the value of that frequency? It is 1.27 radian per second. How much is the gain? It is 10.39. That means these two poles are colliding at minus 1.27. Then they will start going in the towards the higher, that is A plus j omega axis. And how long will be they staying at left hand side of S plane? So this is the diagram which you'll have to draw finally. So you are finding that at K is equal to 0, this is at S is equal to 0, S is equal to minus 3, S is equal to minus 6. You increase the value of the gain. So this minus 6 will keep on going in the negative side. So this is always stable, no problem with that. This S is equal to 0 and minus 3, they are conditionally stable. So for K is equal to 1, this may be here. For K is equal to 1, this may be here. K is equal to 2 here, K is equal to 2 here. Likewise, we are increasing the value of K. When you are increasing the value of K is equal to 10.39, you are finding that the 0 and minus 3 both are colliding at minus 1.27. Further, you are increasing the value of K. That means you are finding that the 0 pole will come here, minus 1.27, it will travel in the upward, and towards, it will be bending towards the j omega axis. This minus 3 for K is equal to 0, it was at minus 3. For K is equal to 10.39, it is at minus 1.27. Further, you are increasing the gain, it is also bending towards the j omega axis. Then when the K value is 162, these two root locus are trying to cross the j omega axis and entering the right hand side of S plane. Right hand side means it is unstable. So till K is equal to 161.99, root locus is in the left hand side of S plane, system is stable. At K is equal to 162 or frequency is equal to 4.24 radian per second, which is omega marginal, system is it is called as kind of oscillatory response because poles are on j omega axis. You have plotted it. If you are increasing the value of gain greater than 162, the system is becoming unstable. So this is the plot which you have to show, and this is the point minus 3 where you have to draw the asymptote angle. So there is a first asymptote 60 degree, there is a second asymptote 180 degree, there is a third asymptote which is 300 degree. What is the significance of asymptote? Asymptote is a guiding line for this root locus. So this root locus will be touching this asymptote lines at S is equal to infinity. So you are saying here this arrow, in front of this arrow you can write that they will go to S is equal to infinity. This is asymptote, this is first asymptote beta 1 is 60, this is second asymptote beta 180, this is third asymptote beta is 300. So this is the whole root locus, complete root locus, and you have to say that this is a conditionally stable system. Why conditionally stable? Because K is equal to 0 up to K is equal to 161.99. All the three poles are lying in the left hand side of S plane, system is stable. At K is equal to 162, system is becoming marginally stable. K greater than 162, system becomes unstable. So here I complete the first numerical that we have plotted for 3 real pole system. Next we will start with 4 real pole system.